Finicum said he was supposed to be pretty soon. I came to the way of that. Well, I got numbers, but they can't call because we got no service. No, no light was not available. Do you have numbers for people here in the house? Yeah. Okay, so you. Take them, sir. Sit down, sit down, sit down. Sit down. Yeah, other shoe now. Did I shoot him? Yeah. Oh my God! Stay down. Is he dead? Dump it out. Did they kill him? I think they did this. Oh, here on this door. Okay, hold still, hold still. Hold still. Okay, don't shoot her. Okay, I'm going to take some.
My husband, LaVoy Finicum, was murdered by our government during an illegal roadblock known as a kill stop in Oregon, January 26, 2016, the day before his 55th birthday. He had gone to Oregon to stand for property rights for our ever-disappearing liberties, for who he considered to be his neighbor, Dwight and Susie Hammond, for you and for me. Senator Wyden and Governor Brown and other local Oregon officials wanted what they called the virus of freedom to be stopped from spreading. So they asked Director Comey and Attorney General Loretta Lynch for a swift resolution, which resulted in the murder of my husband and the arrest of many men and women who were present at the Malheur Refuge. They used the national media outlets to control the narrative and demonize those who were peacefully demonstrating. They wanted you to believe that they were racist, belonging to a sovereign citizen terrorist group, a right-wing extremist group, or a bitter religious zealots clinging to their guns and religion. But who was LaVoy Finicum really? LaVoy loved his God. LaVoy loved his family. He loved life, and he lived every day to its fullest. He loved to play and to tease and to work hard. He spent years loving and teaching disadvantaged teenage boys in our home. He loved his neighbor and gave freely of what he had. His dream to own his own ranch was realized, and he loved ranching and he loved his cows. He was strong and courageous. He was principled and trustworthy. He was loving and kind. He was my true friend. He loved his freedom, his agency given to him by God. He loved his children and grandchildren so much so that he was willing to stand for them. He loved living in America, and he knew he was blessed to be here. He loved this country, and he stood for liberty, for freedom when he was called. Samuel Adams said, "If ever a time should come when vain and aspiring men shall possess the highest seats in government, our country will stand in need of its experienced patriots to prevent its ruin." And I believe LaVoy was a true patriot. Over this past year and a half, I've been through quite a lot. I've had many challenges, as you can imagine. But what I didn't expect was to be followed by the FBI to my speaking engagements, to have been labeled a sovereign citizen terrorist, labeled anti-government, or put on their list. I am not anti-government. I am, as was my husband, for pro-responsible government. We believe the Constitution to be the law of the land, and it is our responsibility as its citizens to stand up and defend and protect it. I didn't expect to be ignored by the BLM in reference to personal property and the ability to continue running our family ranch. I thought I still had freedom to choose my own line of work. My attorneys have been communicating with the BLM over a year and a half now, trying to secure my right under my husband's permit as a transferee of my husband's rights under testamentary disposition. Instead of following this clear federal regulation, the BLM instead obfuscated, refused to acknowledge that I was my husband's wife and widow. They denied that I had any right to that permit and pretended that it simply was terminated upon his death. I don't understand this. I'm just trying to survive and put my life back together after they murdered my husband. And then they treat me this way? Why? Why am I the subject of their abuse? Is history repeating itself? The stories of William Wallace and Robin Hood come to my mind. Mine is not the only story of abuse across this country. There are many more stories just like mine, and some you will hear at this conference this weekend. One of the ways I'm funding my legal battles against the BLM and the wrongful death suit is to sell my husband's novel, Only by Blood and Suffering, Regaining Lost Freedom. LaVoy wanted to teach. He wanted to sound the alarm, to wake up the populace. So that's when he wrote this novel. The book is it's a major theme about what people are before the collapse, and that the people we are before the collapse will be the people we are the day after the collapse. So spend your time now being the people you want to be. It's preparing your children, teaching them about faith, hard work, justice, and freedom. LaVoy's personal knowledge of the joy and love within a family is very enviable, leaving you with wanting to spend more time doing what you love and with who you love, inspiring you not to waste time. As I was preparing this talk, I was asking myself, what is our role as mothers in restoring our lost liberties and protecting the Constitution? What can we do? We women have titles or roles. I'm a daughter of God. I'm an earthly daughter, a sister, a wife, a mother, a stepmother, an adoptive mother, a foster mother, a grandmother, an aunt, a sister. The list is endless for us all. But I believe the most important title and role I've had has been the one of mother. Since being thrust into the forefront of this battle, when meeting people across this country, many have asked me, what do you do? What do you do for work? And I've been caught off guard by that question. And my typical answer was, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. Just? How many of you have, because your accomplishments didn't include either a career or a degree of any kind, felt like you were lacking? That just being a mother wasn't meaningful enough in today's world? Well, the truth of the matter is, ladies, we are not lacking. We are not just stay-at-home moms. We are the loving influence, the nurturers, the educators for our future generations. Our children will need to be able to stand for truth and righteousness, with humility and virtue, with knowledge and integrity, and to be able to restore our lost freedoms. They are our future keepers of the Republic, and we ladies are their loving mothers and teachers. President Gordon B. Hinckley said, "The place to begin to improve society is in the home. Children do, for the most part, what they are taught." President Spencer W. Kimball said, "To be a righteous woman is a glorious thing in this age, in any age. To be a righteous woman during the winding up scenes on this earth before the second coming of our Savior is an especially noble calling." The righteous women's strengths and influences today can be tenfold what it might be in a more tranquil time. She has been placed here to help enrich, to protect, and to guard the home, which is society's basic and most noble institution. Other institutions in society may falter and even fail, but the righteous woman can help to save the home, which may be the last and only sanctuary some mortals know in the midst of storm and strife, end quote. I am truly grateful for a husband who recognized the utmost importance of my place in the home, that he worked tirelessly in his career to afford and assure that my work in the home of nurturing, teaching, and guiding our children was paramount. I could have never been the mother to so many without him by my side. The great father and teacher that he was. He taught me so much, and I am eternally grateful for that. This past 20 months traveling the country, my intent has been to tell the real story of LaVoy, that he was a loyal son, a great husband and father, a courageous patriot. To talk about our freedoms that are being lost, to stir the hearts and minds of good men and women all across this country into action. I did not want the last words about LaVoy to be from that biased, crooked, corrupt media. In doing so, I have been completely out of my element. It has been hard, pretty intimidating and frightening at times, but it has and continues to be an amazing journey. These words of a favorite hymn come to my mind. Though hard to you this journey may appear, grace shall be as your day. Gird up your loins, fresh courage take, our God will never us forsake. President Thomas S. Monson said, when we qualify ourselves by our worthiness, when we strive in faith, nothing wavering, to fulfill the duties appointed to us, when we seek the inspiration of the Almighty in the performance of our responsibilities, we can achieve the miraculous. As with Esther of old, when her cousin Mordecai asked, who knoweth whether thou art come to a kingdom for such a time as this? Ladies, my sisters in this fight, God has brought us here now, in these not so tranquil of times, for such a time as this. We are the guardians of our homes, which is society's basic and most noble institution. God knows us individually. He knows our capabilities, and He can and will qualify us for the task that He has for us to do. May we rise to our divine potential as mothers, teachers, and patriots in raising a righteous generation. Technology.
America, stand. The night is far spent. The Constitution has been shredded, but it lives in your heart. You know what freedom is and what freedom isn't. Stand, because when you stand, others will stand with you. And God can't stand with you if you don't stand. Once you stand, you can expect the hand of providence to be over you. Don't matter how it ends, it matters how you stand. This is LaVoy Finicum, One Cowboy Stands for Freedom. See you later.
He's telling you to stand. He's so eloquent, and nobody can do it like LaVoy. But I would like to think that LaVoy, the patriot that he was, set a few brush fires of freedom and liberty in the hearts and minds of many across this country, that his sacrifice, his stand for freedom, for liberty, for agency, was not in vain. And I'd like to thank you for having me here today and for inviting me. And I'd like to also thank all of the people across this country who have loved our family and buoyed us up and held us up this past 18, 19 months. Thank you, and God bless you.